So we have maybe a creative and we want to translate it, but also to localize it for like a different market. And remember, it's not like the Figma plugin I'm using here, like not an open file. It's like it's just an image, right? So maybe just use the TranslateSheet MCP for this. Let's say localize this image for Sweden with a Swedish version with TranslateSheet, okay? And typically MCPs are not super good, or the use case is not intended to have like files sent between like a host or client and like a MCP provider or server such as TranslateSheet. So my way of solving this case was I pre-sign like a upload URL, then the image file from the chat is uploaded to TranslateSheet on my server. You see it here. And it's not so fast, but also it's not so slow, I hope. So it's uploaded to a Google Cloud storage where just like the user of the session has access to. And now it's orchestrating a complete localization pipeline. So I have here the target local SV. I think that's right. I have, what do I have? Replace a model with a Swedish person. Sounds nice. Context, German, Nordlich, health, food, and being also sounds great. Now let's wait a little bit more. And I'm hoping the output is worth the wait. But this is also possible with MCPs, right? You could have a complete, I don't know, repo of chaos. And usually the repos I work in are very chaotic for like files and stuff there's in. And the magic, I think, is that the MCP server can work with like every format, even if it's like an image or a text, and I just can like drag and drop it into the agent window here, but also, of course, Claude or wherever, like Claude Cowork. Now let's watch the result, because it's also downloading the image again and then saving in the same directory where the source image was in. And I hope the result is good, but I think it's pretty spot on if we are comparing it with the source image. And this is what I mean with developing an MCP server, sometimes magical. Let me close it here. Oh no, not again, another agent. So right one was the original, right? Left one is the localized image. And with localized, I mean like real localization. It's like a closed file. It's not an open file, but the font is spot on. The code, hey Reddit, is preserved, but it's like English translation. So perfect example. Did I close already the shit? Sorry, I closed.
That's the deal with. I mean, it probably we don't need to show that because it probably takes so long. But how does it deal with cases where the target language is way longer? Like if you localize from, I don't know, English to German, for example.
It's automatically decreasing the font size then. So the orchestration behind it, and I don't know why I can't reopen it here. Here. No, I already closed it. Ah, shit. But there was now an error, right? So the image is still on the server. So I can say you made like a mistake, or you made like here wrong parsing or whatsoever. So I can have a conversation about the result and then influence the image. Maybe I have it here an example also. So I of course did a test run before. So this was like the source image, right? I also tried it directly with, for example, and I don't mean it in like a negative way, because the DeepL is focusing on like text here, but I tried with the image translation, and then I have it here, for example, with like the Spanish market with the same flow I just showed you. And when the target language is correct, then things like a discount code is like respected and not translated. And then if I'm having more adaptation needed, I can have a conversation with it, right? But the stack behind it is I orchestrate still, or I'm still using your API for like all the text translations. So you can localized images with like a glossary, with context, with instructions, everything you know. But then I must say the Gemini models are very good for like image adaptations and creations. So what I'm doing with TranslateSheet, I'm having a OCR and also like a precise mapping of everything, and then giving it back to Gemini with like source image as reference. And then I'm receiving top-notch results back. So very pixel perfect. And I think also it's...
sorry.
Yeah.
Just to understand that. So you are using OCR to extract all the text pieces from the image, and then you translate.
Yeah.
So in this case, would you translate or would you at least send the Nordleaf name to the API as well and just get the same back, or do you ignore that?
I have two things in place. Maybe we can also open the code just, and I can show you, because it's quite interesting. And for me, it's okay if I'm doing 5 minutes more than our initial time, because I think it's
that's fine.
Cool. Let me just open it here. Need to open it here. So this is like my source code of the TranslateSheet. I think it's very, very good visible here. And I'm using some Gemini Flash model. I'm using Gemini because I have like free tokens from Google, so it's very cheap for me. Also, it's a very good model. So I'm categorizing different text regions for different types. For example, promotional codes, brand names, URL, text, everything what I think shouldn't be translated in the first place. Also without like using a glossary. Then I have can skip this, Gemini Flash. I'm also, OCR is, it's like not a typical OCR, right? But it's a very guided OCR or like AI OCR if you want so. And then I have like my systems prompts with like everything analyzed. And then based on this analyze, I then send DeepL the text extractions ready for, or what I think, or like the model thinks, translatable. So Nordleaf brand term wouldn't be sent to DeepL because it would be recognized as, okay, this is like a brand. It's part of the logo. It doesn't need translation. But even if it's like not part of the automatic recognition, then if the user is using a glossary, at least they have done the full control with the text translation, and all with the localization for like, I have different adaptation prompts to really preserve things that doesn't need to be changed, because I want to have as little hallucination and as much control and to be very near as the source image as possible while having the exact pixel amount changed.
Hey there! If you've built something with the DeepL API, we should talk. We're giving the community a stage to showcase what they've built, SDKs, integrations, full apps, whatever it is, as long as it's using the DeepL API, we want to hear about it. See it, we want to talk about it. If that's you, please come show us in DeepL Bridges, go to the MadeWithDeepL section and post about what you've built. Until then, please subscribe and like.